What's up, CJ's Keto Kitchen family? This is CJ.
And Sarah.
It's a Wednesday, and that means it's time for another Keto
Conversations.
So let's get started. And I guess I should have said it's the first Wednesday of 2021.
That's right.
So let's get this thing started.
Yeah.
All right, so tonight we're going to talk about getting started with keto, how to do it. I know my goal, and I think both our goals are to keep this as simple as possible.
Yes.
Not to really complicate things. There will be some videos that we may reference, like for example, we might mention something about macros. We did a whole video on macros, what it means, what it's about. So we may mention macros, but we'll put a link to that video so you can get more in depth if you just don't understand what macros are. But
right.
Our goal is to
talk about keto basics.
Talk about the very basics of starting keto. In our opinion, keto is one of the easiest diets to do. And we both have I lost about 75 pounds doing keto. I don't know how much you lost. I know you lost a bunch of inches as far as clothes size. I think you said you thought you lost 100 pounds at some point.
Very close to it, yeah. And that is, of course, over, 4 years, so.
Yeah, it was over some time. Right. And so, anyway, that's what this video is about tonight. And we're going to jump right into it. And now you put most of these notes together, which I appreciate.
Yep.
So I'm going to let you kind of lead this,
okay.
And then I'll just throw stuff in.
Okay. So the first thing that we want to talk about is, what is keto? What is the ketogenic diet? So, and what are some of its benefits? So basically it is a low-carb, high-fat lifestyle. And it helps to lower your insulin levels. And it is basically where you're doing 75% fat and about 20% protein. So it's not a high-protein diet like some low-carb lifestyle plans can be. It does focus more on high fat and moderate protein.
And low carbs.
Right. So some of the benefits of this lifestyle would be, of course, weight loss, losing weight, and also things like helping your insulin. People with, hyperinsulinemia or diabetes, different types of diabetes, this can benefit them. Also, this type of diet is really good for appetite control because most people do not feel overly hungry practicing this diet. That can be kind of a deterrent for some people sticking with a lifestyle plan. It's popular at the beginning of the year to want to tighten our belts and to do some kind of, restricting plan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But this one is a lot more easier to stick with because you aren't hungry. That is a lot of the reasons why people won't stick with some other plans, because you get hungry. So, yeah. So the second thing that I wanted to talk about was, I personally feel, and I know that we've discussed this in the past, that it's important to do your research beforehand. Don't take just what we're saying as, the gospel here. In my opinion, it's very important that you do some reading. Sure. You listen to podcasts. There's a lot of authorities for this type of lifestyle. Doctors. Dr. Eric Westman has a very good book. Gary Taubes has a good book. Dr. Ken Berry. A lot of these famous individuals in the low-carb ketogenic lifestyle, they have books and they have videos and they have podcasts where they go into more detail. So definitely research, get some basics.
Yeah, do some research. I know when we started, you kind of jumped on first. Mm-hmm. I turned around and then I actually purchased some material.
Right.
And that was part of my research, was to learn as much as I could before I jumped in. Now, for me, I'm one of those people, I make decisions fairly quickly. They're not always right, but I do make them fairly quickly. And so even after I got the, materials, kind of went through and made sure I understood, I was ready to jump on board. But again, back to what Sarah was saying, do your research.
Right.
There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of misinformation out there as well.
Right.
So, get information from good sources. You know, there's a lot of reasons why people don't want people to do keto. There's a lot of, ulterior motives about that. You just need to stick to what you want to do, what you're trying to do. If keto is what you've decided to do some research. We can put some links to. I'm pretty sure we already have a link to the Gary Taubes book in our description. But we can put some other links as far as the Dr. Westman, maybe Ken Berry. But as Sarah said, do your research. But I would say do your research, but don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. Do your research, get the information, and then get moving. Start doing what you need.
And that goes along with the third point that I think is important before we get started with the basics is be persistent and make a decision. Like CJ said, decide you're going to do this, you're going to give it a try, give yourself a deadline if that makes you happy. Say I'm going to give this a try for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or whatever, but make a decision to give this an honest try and then do it. You might fail initially, you might have setbacks, but if you have given yourself a goal of I'm going to try this, I'm really going to try it this time, then do it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, then do it, and then I guess I would also add with that though is when you first start off, if you don't do it perfectly, it's okay. It's very forgiving. You can still have success and don't have to be doing everything perfectly right off the bat.
Exactly.
So, all right. So that's just kind of some of the first things we wanted to say about keto, a little history behind it, or I'm sorry, a little background behind it.
Right.
And then make a decision to do it. So what's next? The basics.
So
let's talk about.
The first thing, and like what CJ just talked about, the first thing is restricting carbs. This lifestyle can be very forgiving because if you restrict your carbs, that's 20 grams, and that is net carbs, meaning that the fiber doesn't necessarily need to be restricted, and it might be of some benefit to you initially. So that is 20 carbs.
20 grams of carbs
net
per
carbs, yes,
day.
Per day. And so if you are restricting your carbs and keeping your carbohydrates low, that is number one. There are so many other things that people go to after that that can sometimes be confusing, like CJ talked about macros and this and that. If you keep your carbs low, you're going to keep the keto lifestyle simple, and that's what you want to do because you will have success if you keep your carbs low. That is number one. That if you remember nothing else from this conversation about starting the ketogenic lifestyle, it is keep your carbs low.
And you may have to, that actually means you may have to actually look at what carbs you're consuming in foods that you already eat.
Right.
So, and you would be surprised if you do that, because we said 20 grams per day, you'll be surprised at some of the stuff that you're eating way more than 20 in one setting.
Right.
A lot of us do, just,
Right. So that's focusing on whole foods because those will be your lower carb items. Your fats are generally low in carbs, mostly nothing. A lot of your full fat dairy is very low in carbs. Fibrous vegetables, green vegetables, salads, spinach, broccoli, things like those are naturally high in fiber and low in carbohydrates. And of course, your high protein fatty cuts of meat are also very low in carbohydrates. You will not go hungry. You just need to watch your filler foods and some of those other things. Anything that says whole grain is generally a no. So.
Right.
So the second point is eating enough fat. As Americans, especially, I myself, growing up in the 80s, we were taught to fear fat. That's when a lot of all of your artificial fats came out, your trans fats, things like Olestra, where people were trying to minimize fats, margarines, everything's low fat, low fat, low fat. And that is the opposite of this lifestyle. You want to eat those good, healthy fats, butter, avocados, coconut oil, because the fat is going to assist your body in what it needs to do to learn to not use carbs anymore for what it needs, and it turns to using fat, and that is what you're trying to do.
Because essentially that is what you're trying to do.
Right.
You're trying to restrict your carbs so that your body will stop using carbs as fuel,
Right.
and then switch over to using your fat as fuel to fuel.
Right.
So that's essentially what you're trying to do.
Because you're still going to need energy. And so
Yes.
you're going to start using fat for your energy instead of glucose, which is what happens when you take in carbs. Glucose is sugar. So you're going to start using fat instead of sugar to fuel your body and your brain.
So you're going to use some of the fat that you eat, but you're going to mostly use the fat that's on your body.
Yes. Yes. And that's why consuming enough fat inside in the form of food is going to assist your body in knowing what to do. Oh, okay, this is what we need. So let's burn some of what we already have. So
Right.
that's why you want to get enough fat to feel satisfied. So I know a lot of people, when they first begin the ketogenic lifestyle, they're very concerned with getting whatever amount of fat they've been told they should take in. Some astronomical gram amount or whatever the case may be. Don't make yourself sick trying to take in fat. Take in fat to where you're satisfied. Don't take in fat for fat's sake. Drinking a fatty coffee, pouring MCT oil into everything you drink. That's not what this lifestyle is about. Fat is supposed to be a lever. It's supposed to help you feel satisfied, but you don't need to just be guzzling fat or eating a stick of butter because you think you need to reach a certain macro for your fats.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, that's a bit of a change in even how we used to do keto.
Right.
So when we first started keto, we were pile driving the fat just because that's what we thought we needed to do. So that is a bit of a change. So
exactly.
Eat enough fat so you can be satisfied and then move on. Because you're eating enough fat, you won't be as hungry as you probably have been in the past.
Right. If you followed some other lifestyle plan, then you might have been so hungry you could have eaten the carpet. But this gives you a chance to feel satisfied, so you're not going to have that hunger.
Sure.
So then the next point, next basic thing for the ketogenic diet is moderate protein. So that's generally between 1.2 to 1.7 kilograms per pound of lean body weight. So that's going to be different for everyone. It's going to be different for men. It's going to be different for women. It all depends. And there are lots of wonderful charts. I can link some information from the Diet Doctor podcast that I referenced for this particular point. They have charts that can help you, assist you in knowing how much protein you need. Although, once again, as CJ mentioned, as things have come to light because the ketogenic lifestyle is becoming more and more popular, there are more and more doctors doing actual research about the amount of protein that we need. So you don't need to fear protein either. Make sure you're getting adequate protein. And it's definitely essential, especially for people in our age group. As we're getting older, we need to maintain our muscle mass. So definitely don't fear protein either.
Right. And then the last thing you have is avoid snacking and eat enough at your meals.
Right.
And so now I know when I first started keto, when we first started, we did not snack. I know the material that I purchased recommended that I didn't snack on snack stuff, even keto-friendly snacks, until probably about a month out. And I would say that is a good rule of thumb.
It's good advice.
Is that, when you first start, try to keep it clean and limit the amount of snacks that you have. But I would say that I guess if you're going to snack, then you better snack on purpose and maybe as a reward versus just snacking to snack.
Right.
So, but avoid snacking, especially when you first start. Give yourself a month. If you can go 2 months without having a snack, that's great. But you want to, again, you're trying to get your body to change from its glucose burning state to burning ketones and burning your fat. And
so you don't want to give your body mixed signals if you can help it.
Give it enough time. Yeah. And we're all different. I mean, some of us, some of you, because I know people. Some people you're going to snack anyway.
Yeah.
And you're going to find out, you can do it and still lose weight. Some folks you're going to find that if you snack, it's going to affect and may slow down some of the things you do. So you're going to have to figure that out yourself. But
because everyone is different.
Yeah, we're going to tell you, especially when you first start, to try to avoid snacking. But part of what we do is to give you options, because when you get past that first initial
When
steps,
you do choose to eat a low carb sweet or low carb something, then we are here for you to help you think of those foods, change those foods that maybe were your favorites in the glucose burning, food history that you have.
Yeah, it's just you're going to delay that for a bit.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
Yes.
All right, where you at?
So then the next little point I wanted to discuss is optional items. So these are, in my opinion, optional items. So that would be intermittent fasting, which, I'm sure you've probably heard about if you've been around this lifestyle at all. And that can be a useful tool. However, I myself did not begin intermittent fasting until I was a year into the ketogenic lifestyle.
Yeah.
So do not feel like you cannot do one without the other. That is not.
Yeah, and some people do get that impression that you have to do intermittent fasting to do keto, and it's just not. That's not the case. You can do keto independently of intermittent fasting.
And certainly you are or should experience some, form of appetite suppression. So sometimes it can be easier for you to go a longer time between meals, or to be full overnight and wake up and not feel like you're super starving and are just ready to eat your breakfast. And some people do. It all depends on who you are, your preferences, your metabolic resistance. There's a lot of different factors there. So for sure, think about intermittent fasting if it's something that you want to give it a try, but definitely know that that is an optional thing. You do not have to do that to be successful on the ketogenic lifestyle.
And please don't get us wrong. We're not saying there's anything bad or wrong with intermittent fasting. We're just saying
I've been doing it for 3 years.
A lot of times people are under the impression that you have to do them both. I know where that comes from, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're just saying that you can do keto independent of intermittent fasting. They both work together very well.
And there's a certain subset of the population that practices intermittent fasting and do not practice the ketogenic lifestyle. That's what I'm saying, is that they're not necessarily in tandem. They do work well together, but that does not mean that you have to have both of them.
Sure.
So, and then the second one is exercise. I myself did not do a great deal of exercise to lose 100 pounds. I did a little bit the first year, but it wasn't anything strenuous. That does not mean that I don't believe in exercise. I've started exercising again myself at the start of this year, simply for stress relief. But if exercise is something you enjoy, it can definitely be a part of this lifestyle. In fact, you can have a lot of success with your exercise, because a lot of times you are able to exercise more fully because you're tapping into this source of energy that you didn't have before.
Right. I don't really have anything to say about that. I mean, it's true.
Yeah. So you don't have to exercise, but if it's something that you enjoy.
I off and on exercise, go in spurts, and again, first of the year, trying to start a new routine as far as exercise. But I'm pretty sure the majority of my weight loss did not come when I was exercising.
And we are asked that, often. So both of us have had periods of exercise where we've had lots of strenuous exercise before we began this lifestyle. And sometimes we lost weight, sometimes we didn't. So it all depends on what you like. But exercise is not essential for the ketogenic diet or for some success on this lifestyle.
Sure.
And then the last point that I wanted to discuss that is also an optional item is supplementation. So there's things like MCT oil that we discussed, there's exogenous ketones, there's other things that might be beneficial for you, but it's not essential. So if you find some of those products and you want to give them a try, go right ahead. But just know that you don't have to have a bunch of fancy supplements, you don't have to have grass-fed anything in order to be successful with the ketogenic diet.
That's true. We've never been a big proponent of, organic this or grass-fed that to do keto. we think that it can be done by anybody
Yes.
at any level as
Yes.
far as income. And sometimes we get grass-fed stuff, but it's because it's on sale. It's not because we went looking for it. It's because it's such a great deal that we want to get it. So you don't have to feel like that will
hold you back.
Will hold you back.
Right.
You can have success, and we're not the only ones that say that. We're
absolutely not.
We're not the only ones that say that. There's other people.
Because there's a subset of the population that needs this lifestyle.
Sure.
But a lot of times they are, they have health parameters because they have only been able to afford more of your junk food, less expensive foods at the grocery store. So, doctors like Dr. Westman have been able to guide them to still similar foods that are inexpensive but are in keeping with this lifestyle. So definitely,
they still have success.
Yes, so don't feel like you won't be successful if you can't afford, beef massaged by pandas in the Andes. You can still do this with regular foods at the grocery store.
Yeah. So I think that's it. I don't really have anything else to say. We do this because we know there's a lot of people trying to make decisions about starting keto this time of year. So we want to put this out there for you. If you stumble upon this video, again, we believe that you can keep keto simple and you still can have success. And I guess, again, the thing that I remember hearing another channel say a long time ago, you don't have to do keto perfect, but even if you figure out, especially when you first start, how to keep, I think you said this earlier, how to keep your carbs low, how to really reduce your carbs. Even if you don't have the fat perfect or the protein perfect, if you can figure out how to reduce the amount of carbs you eat every day considerably down to keep it at that 20 gram range. If you go over a little bit over, that's fine. But you'll be surprised of how much weight you'll just start losing just because of that.
Just that one thing. Keep it simple. Yep.
So keep it simple. So if you're new to our channel, this is our Keto Conversation segment. We do these every Wednesday. A lot of times we talk about keto relevant topics like this one, but sometimes you'll find keto food unboxings. Sometimes you'll find what we eat on keto or grocery hauls. And so on Wednesday night we give you a variety of content. But Keto Conversations and these conversations is what we started with when we started this channel, and so we actually do find it nice to sit down and just chat about keto and the keto lifestyle. So we do that every Wednesday, and then every Sunday we do new recipes, and we hope that you consider subscribing. We'd love to have you as part of our family. We're excited about 2021 and all the things that are ahead of us, and we just hope that you can be part of our keto family. So consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and we hopefully will see you back here next week or on Sunday for the recipe.
Definitely.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Peace.